Welcome back to my last segment of Ask the Cat's Meowth. This is part 5, so I've got 8 questions to answer in this video. So I didn't quite hit 50 questions, and honestly, there's a few in here that are just kind of filler questions that I'll cover, but aren't really that great. But I really enjoyed doing this series. It was kind of nice to kind of just sit and kind of feel like I was talking to people, interacting a little bit more with my viewers, and I hope you guys enjoyed it just as much as I did. So let's go ahead and dive right into the questions. Question number 1. When does the next set come out? So I get this question all the time, and not just limited to when the next set comes out, but where can I find pre-releases in New York? Where can I find them in Texas? All of this information, where can I find leagues? All this information can be found on the Pokemon website. There's a great thing called the Pokemon website trading card section. Go to Pokemon.com. There's a link that just has, it's a whole section on just the trading card game that will tell you when, if the next set's coming up, when the date will be. They typically come out every 3 months, so if a set just came out, you're probably not going to find out the exact release date for the next set, but roughly every 3 months. On the right-hand side will be a little box that says find an event near you. Use that to find your leagues, tournaments, pre-releases, everything. So it's really easy to use, and just yeah, I'm not a book of knowledge right now, so I don't have memorized every pre-release in the country. I even have people asking me about pre-releases and events in other countries, and it's kind of frustrating. Just use the website, people. It's there for you. So, question number 2. When Genesect comes out, will people run it as a counter to Mewtwo? Interesting question. I don't believe we got Genesect in this last set. Deoxys will be an interesting threat to Mewtwo. Honestly, Mewtwo will be an interesting threat to Deoxys. I believe they're both Psychic weak, so we're probably going to have Deoxys Mewtwo wars. So, I don't know if Genesect specifically will be used to counter Mewtwo, but honestly, we don't see Mewtwo wars nearly as much nowadays than we used to. We still see Mewtwo in decks to try and get a good donk. It's just generally a good attacker, but we're not seeing decks that are running, 3 to 4 Mewtwo's anymore, typically. So it's just really not as common. So Genesect will probably be popular, it will see play, but not strictly for the Mewtwo war. Question number 3. What's your favorite legendary? So this is probably as difficult as what's your favorite Pokemon. I have lots of different of favorites for different reasons, and I don't know if I could really limit my favorite legendary down to one Pokemon. It would probably be something from the first generation, Mew or Mewtwo. Honestly, with the new female version of Mewtwo coming out, I just don't like the different forms of Pokemon. Make different Pokemon, that's fine. I don't like the different forms. The Black Kyurem versus White Kyurem, I don't care for them. So, the whole new Mewtwo, I'm really not feeling that either. So, I'm probably gonna have to go with just Mew. It's cute, it sounds like a kitten, and, it's just adorable. What's your favorite Pokemon card? So, again, like the what's your favorite Pokemon question, there's just so many out there that I have a hard time choosing. The Jungle Venonat will always be special to me since it was my first card. I have a first edition Blaine's Charizard that I pulled from a first edition challenge booster box years ago, back when it was first released and it wasn't several $100s. I got it as a Christmas present, so I think the box was, funny enough, back in those days, I think I got the box for like 70-something bucks off of eBay, and that was when I would pretty much just tell my parents what I wanted, and kind of honestly went through the trouble of ordering it for myself, and then they just paid for it. So that one's pretty cool. I've got lots of cards that I'll look through and have special memories attached to, but not one that just goes over the rest of them. There's too many thousands of cards out there for me to choose just one. Question number 5, and this is a good one. What's your opinion on an eternal Pokemon format? So that means all sets are legal, and the only limitations are possibly ban lists. From what I understand, Yu-Gi-Oh! Does this. I think there's some formats of Magic that does this. I'm honestly not quite sure about Magic. I've heard both things, that they have eternal formats, but they also do a lot of reprints. There's other point is that there's other trading card games that don't work like Pokemon, where they just rotate sets out to keep them with the current sets, but they keep all sets legal, and then just ban like really powerful cards like Mewtwo might be banned. The Sableye, they had Sabeldonk, where it's power let it go first, or its body let it go first, and then you could pair it with all these trainers and just kill your opponent on the first turn. Cards like that would go on ban lists to try to make sure that not one deck was overpowerful, but really give a lot more strategy and options open. So in general, I think this is a great idea. But really mostly as an alternative format. I think that the format that we have now, where we have rotations, should still be available for sanctioned tournaments. And alternate formats, that's kind of a stretch if you want to sanction them or not. To count towards events, you kind of have to have two separate formats running at the same time. But the reason why the current format is, or not the current format specifically, but the current way of doing the format, where we have rotations instead of an eternal format, is good, is because it helps new players get in the game. You're 7 years old, you go into the store and you're buying booster packs. That's how you get into playing. You don't get into playing by buying a box that's 15 years old and hoping you get the $1,000 card in there. That's part of the reason why some of these other trading card games are so much more expensive than Pokemon, is because they've stopped printing some of the really good cards, and so they're impossible to get a hold of. So for that reason, I don't think an eternal format by itself would work for Pokemon, because it would really just turn off a lot of the younger players, and it would probably turn off a lot of the older players too. Just getting right into the game, it's a lot easier to jump right in when you have a fairly fresh card pool where you can still go to the store and buy cards from all the legal sets. You take that away, just the game's going to be more expensive, and Pokemon's going to lose a lot of its appeal if a competitive deck starts out at $1,000 to $2,000. Right now, a couple $100 most people can sway. You can typically get away with dropping some catchers and things for in the junior section, or the juniors. Well, I'll just say section because I can't think of the other word. But you can typically get away with some of the more expensive cards in juniors and sometimes seniors, at least for a little while as you're starting out, to kind of reduce your initial costs. But in general, if you want to play Eternal Pokemon formats, just get a bunch of your friends together, print out proxies, printing out the cards online and throwing them in the sleeves, and you can still have all the fun of it without actually having to put all the cost into the real decks and dealing with it's mainly the cost. So on to question number 6. Do you like to dress up? Quick answer, no. I've pretty much always been a tomboy. I despise dressing up. I really only do it when it's required. I really don't have much fashion sense, so usually that's people just telling me that, hey, it's a funeral, you need to wear this. Hey, it's a wedding, you need to wear that. In general, and this is where guys just have it so easy, guys have to dress up, dress pants, dress shirt. Always the same, always comfortable. It's a big thing I hate about dressing up for a girl. Girl clothes are typically not comfortable. They specifically make guy clothes out of, tuxes are pretty much the only exception, and like suits and stuff, where you have so many layers that it gets to the point of being uncomfortable. But for the most part, the materials are made out of comfortable things. Girls, they don't care, because girls are, for the most part, stupid, and if it looks good, they'll wear it regardless of how itchy or scratchy or irritating it is, or how much it shifts, and just that and the expense. Guys, you could dress up for easily under $50, and those clothes, that shirt and that pair of pants will probably be in style for the next 10 years. Girls, nope. Style, fashion, whatever you want to call it, changes every single year. They expect girls to go out and buy new dress clothes every single year. They're usually pretty expensive unless you're, constantly looking for sales and clearance stuff. And it's absolutely ridiculous, the level of comfort and expense that a girl has to go through compared to a guy. So no, I don't like to dress up. I don't want to put the time and money into it, and I think it's just absolutely ridiculous how it's really not even. Question number 7. Do you have a big family? So sadly, no. I wish I did. I am an only child, not by choice. My mom wanted lots of kids. It just, there were physical reasons for why that didn't happen. I was actually, I don't know if you call me a miracle baby or just an accident, but I was never supposed to happen. So I'm kind of fortunate to be around. But unfortunately, I am the only child in my family. We have never lived in a state with other family members. So I have cousins and aunts and uncles spread all over the country, but I think the closest one is 6 to 8 hours away, depending on traffic. And yeah, so I pretty much have always had a small family of just myself and my parents. Holidays are really the only time I ever see anyone else. And honestly, a lot of my family are, day travel, like at least a day, if not 2 or 3 days travel away. So I wish I had a big family, but sadly I don't. And for all of those that say, oh, you're so lucky you're an only child, trust me, I'm not. Once you get older, you will, especially in your 20s and maybe if it takes that long, 30s, you'll start to realize how fortunate you are to have siblings, to have that connection, and to have someone to do stuff with, someone to share stuff with, and someone to share the burden of things. So like when my parents go, I will be the only one to handle everything, funeral arrangements, estate, all that legal stuff. Whereas if I had a bunch of brothers and sisters, things can be divvied up, a lot easier to deal with that loss. So those of you that have siblings, as long as you don't have like extreme cases where you have like alcoholics and drug addicts and extreme psychological disorders like sociopaths and stuff like that, you're lucky to have them and appreciate them. So that's actually going to end the last segment of Ask the Cat's Meowth. I know I said I had 8 questions, but I realized when I read this last one that it is pretty much just a rewording of the Eternal Pokemon format question, so I had pretty much covered everything already. So only 7 questions in this video, but that's still pretty impressive that I had 47, for the most part, pretty good questions that came out of the community. Perhaps I have all these typed up, and I'm gonna post them on my website so that people can access them whenever they want. And maybe I'll come back to this next year and see if people have some new questions and maybe update the series a bit. So thanks for everyone that submitted great questions. Thanks for everyone that watched, and stay tuned. Plasma Freeze opening will be coming up, box opening will be coming up at the end of this week as soon as my order comes in. So, and then all the trades will start and we'll have trade binder updates. Maybe I'll go ahead and get started on some trade binder updates now, and just lots of stuff to look forward to. So, stay tuned.